This week on the Notorious Scoundrels podcast.
At this point, do I really have to tell you, like, how many times? This is like your 30th episode. Well, I guess you guys want to keep this as Bush League. Got it.
Welcome to the Notorious Scoundrels, a podcast focused on tactics and competitive play for Star Wars Legion. Hosted by Kyle Dornbos, Michael Barry, and David Zelenka, with Jay Shalansky, the man behind the glass.
Welcome back to State of the Legion Part 2. We've got the team here ready to go, and we're going to talk about kind of the rest of the episode. How you guys doing?
Someone like drag racing on your street or something?
I think so. I live in downtown DC, and the speed limit's like 20 miles an hour, but that guy was going like 60. So
I'm sorry, Jay. I made a horrible mistake. I left my window closed. I have to open this window. You're going to hear a click of my mouse. I'm just telling you, I'm warning you now before you become completely apoplectic. You ready for this? Bam. Now I can actually record this episode. Woo. Let's go.
Woo. We're good to go. Big thanks to Jay Shalansky, our producer, who has been graciously producing our podcast for the last, 6 months now?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months.
Yeah.
And keeping us on track with all the background noise yelling at us. So
yeah. I mean, Jay's amazing. You should really buy his mats.
Yeah, for sure. And other stuff too.
Yeah.
We don't sell flamethrowers yet, unfortunately.
Drat.
Is that something we could sell?
I don't know, Jay. Can we?
I don't know if we have the right licenses for that, the right permissions.
Yes. Are there even
Jay
permits for flamethrowers? Like,
no idea.
Fifth Trooper, the flamethrower.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
so what are we talking about today?
Yeah, so I think we're gonna start off with last week is really like 2 days ago, but we're gonna call it last week because that's when you guys are listening to it. We had a pretty awesome interview with Alex and Luke on Monday.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
Yeah.
A massive understatement.
Right? I think I heard words like Gungans and sub-factions and Geonosians.
Be still my heart.
I think those came up, right?
Yeah. It's hard to tell how much of that was like wish listing and how much of it was, something that's actually in the pipe. But
I'm so ready to lead my army of Gungan warriors into battle with Captain Tarpals and Jar Jar at the head.
Right.
And just wave a giant middle finger at all you Gungan and Ewok haters out there.
I mean, blue balls are going to be like a mandatory upgrade, right?
I think they're called Boomas, but okay. We'll go with that.
Doesn't Jar Jar say like blue balls at some point? Maybe not. Maybe
Boomas or something. I don't know.
I got it in my head that they're blue balls. So hey,
they're large blue balls.
Exactly, and they roll.
Yep.
And they hit those tanks, and it's pretty sweet.
Moving on.
Yeah. Right. Kapow! So they've talked a lot about the Hoth troopers and Shore Trooper, and their whatever the heavy weapon platforms that come with them. So that was pretty fantastic. What'd you guys think of those?
I will say those Shore Trooper models are like enough almost by themselves to get me to start collecting Empire.
I'm excited to have a new option for Rebel Corps. As beautiful as Rebel Troopers and fleets are, I'm ready for something new. And I'd really like to see if I can, expand the limits of what I'm running, be free of the shackles of... Well, we talk about the shackles of Skywalker on this cast sometimes, but this is like the shackle of the Z6. More on that later.
Right.
But yeah.
So I'm curious here, Kyle, because you're like, man, Shore Troopers look awesome. You've been playing Imperial, and I feel like earlier in the day you were like, man, Bossk is really good.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
I'm in love with the Lizard Man. What can I say?
Well,
I, for one, welcome our new reptilian overlord.
Right.
I mean, look, so I also just played Sabine for the first time today, and she's pretty good too. Not gonna lie.
Oh,
Um,
Sabine's amazing.
but man, I have definitely been enjoying my foray into the Empire. It's nice to have range 4 with the DLTs. I missed the handful of dice that you get to throw with the Z6. Um, you know, I think I think they each have their own shtick. I definitely did better in my second game as Empire in the attrition department than I did in my first one. Although I still pulled the first one out of my ass. Because of Bossk.
Yeah, you did. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I still don't understand how you won that game because I went to bed when I thought you had no chance of coming back. So I guess I was wrong.
Yeah,
But
it was a combination of it was a magic trick basically.
Yeah, I mean, me and Riha had a great time watching you pull that off. If y'all want to see what he's talking about, you can check out the clip of that moment on the Yavin based Twitch. It's all captured there with commentary, and it was an amazing moment. Boba Fett never saw it coming. I'll
Yeah.
just say that much.
Yep.
and for those of you that might not be familiar with how we're playing with Bossk and Sabine, Invader League Season 3, which is Star Wars Legion on Tabletop Simulator, has started up again. So we're playing with them because we're using their spoiled stuff. If they've got unspoiled stuff, we don't have access to it, unfortunately. But we've been playing with them online and, hoping to essentially kind of like figure out the units and everything. So Kyle's been having a pretty fun time bosking it up with Veers, right? You've just been running Veers Bosk?
Yep. Just Veers Bossk. I didn't want to jump headfirst in with double bounty. So I thought I'd just do Bossk Veers first, and I played Sploosh in my first game, and he crushed me on attrition, and then, like I said, I pulled that one out of my ass, like literally on the last activation. That was a learning experience for me, for sure. The second game, I did much better. Bossk is just like, he's just such reliable range 4. I mean, basically you're pushing crits through at range 4 with a suppressive weapon and pierce. And there's so many tools to give him aim tokens that it's really not that weird to have at least two turns on a game where you can reroll into like 4 or 5 crits.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like having a sniper team that just consistently rolls 1 or more crits, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'd say 1 is like a low number.
Yeah, I can agree. Having been the victim of this now a couple times, just in the wild, so to speak.
Well, what's
The magic.
the average amount of crits you're on is per shot is what, like 1.25 technically?
Yeah, it's more than 1 without an aim token, and if you're running with Veers, there's one right there. He's got a command card that gives him, like 10 aim tokens if you want it, in lying in wait. And then obviously if you run it with coordinated fire, you can dump a pile of aim tokens on him on that turn too. So like earlier today, I played my second Invader League match against Copes, and I ran both lying in wait and coordinated fire. So
Oh my goodness.
there were 2 turns where I just like dumped a pile of aim tokens onto Bossk and just rerolled his entire pool into crits basically, which is pretty good.
Good.
And he's range 4, and he's also got unhindered move, so he's really like range 5. It's pretty hard to hide from that without just essentially conceding the board.
Yeah, and he's also
Yeah, it's also
suppressive.
like
Yeah, and
he's suppressive, and it's also insanely difficult to suppress him because if you wound him too much, it doesn't matter.
right, he just gets enraged and he regens. So
Yeah, he kind of ignores a lot of the core conceits of the game, like suppression should cause you to lose actions, and aims should be harder to come by than it is on him, and he can double tap. With Reptilian Rampage, he can double tap. So he's got like a Son of Skywalker esque, just like flat out 2 attack actions kind of thing.
Yeah, except he can touch you from like range 5 away.
Yeah, he doesn't have to risk very much to blow you away. Plus, he's got the magic combination of critical hits and piercing, which basically means you're taking this damage and there ain't nothing you can do about it.
yep. I mean, now there are like, he is super vulnerable to burst damage if you can get close enough to him to do burst damage. That's how I played the flip side earlier today against Luke Cook, and that's how I basically eliminated his Bossk. I hit him with a Z6 and then with Son of Skywalker on back-to-back turns. But, you know, most burst damage is close range, and he's range 4, so...
Yeah.
But he does only have 7 health, and he's got paper-thin armor. So if you can hit him with back-to-back hard hits, he is going to go down. But it's definitely harder to do than it feels like it should be.
Yeah, Bossk and DTs is like just crazy. The amount of range 4 firepower you're putting out.
I actually kind of think that he ends up replacing them.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing too, right? For their points, why would I run a single DT and not be running Bossk instead? Because it doesn't take up a sniper slot, right? B, it's actually slightly cheaper if you just run him with Hunter. He's only 121 at that point.
Yep.
He's pretty cheap.
I will say I find both stims and tenacity to be useful on him. Although those are definitely in order of importance. It's Hunter, stims, tenacity, probably in my mind.
Yeah, I think Hunter is it for him. Like
Hunter's mandatory on him. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's just his style, right? I mean, he can kick your butt up close. Plus, he's got the poison grenade. But I think his style is definitely more the sniper kind of hunter killer,
For sure.
shoot you at range and try to take you down.
Yep.
So you played with Sabine today too.
Yeah. I definitely did not play the best Sabine that I could have played. It was my first game with her, so.
God, why can't you just be good at everything as soon as it comes out?
Yeah, just be perfect. It's easy.
I mean, my primary mistake basically was that she wasn't close enough to Luke for half the game. She still did stuff. She blew some stuff up. She took a lot of fire, but she never used the Darksaber. She got boot spiked by Boba.
Oof.
It ended up not mattering because Luke was doing Luke things, and I was doing pretty well on attrition generally. But
for those people that didn't see the game, I think he could have probably won without Luke or Sabine.
I don't know about that. Luke eliminated Bossk and did some other stuff. But...
Let me drop that back. I think you could have very easily replaced both of those commanders. Like you just the Z6 is pretty much tabled him.
Yeah, and the triple sniper teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of catching him right in places where he didn't have cover or.
Yeah, I think he just kind of moved. It was battle lines, and I think he just kind of moved up a little bit too aggressively on the first turn, and I hit him pretty hard for it. Yeah, I mean, but I guess I could have spent those Luke and Sabine points on other things too, and it probably still would have been fine. But Luke did his Son of Skywalker thing on Bossk, which was pretty significant, and Sabine did hit 4 different units with explosions. So.
Well, you're still able to fit 5Z6 triple sniper, right, alongside Luke Sabine.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I even took an officer Z6, which I think I had to cut stims on Sabine to do that. I don't think I would do that again.
I think you take stims and then do something else.
Right. Agreed. Yeah, it was
crazy
though. Luke's a really good player. He was also experimenting with double bounty, which I think is a list that he's uncomfortable with and is also somewhat difficult to run. It's got the same problem as Super Friends, which is that you have 3 characters, all of which you want order tokens on. So it's kind of a hot mess from a token mix perspective. Like if you're not pulling the tokens when you need to, you definitely need improv. But yeah, it's a little bit double bounties. I haven't tried that yet myself. I'm a little bit afraid. But I think it's one of those high ceiling lists that's also very difficult to run. So
yeah, and there's a lot of discussion in the community right now about what the optimal command hand is and things like that.
Yep.
I think for Super Friends, it's a little bit more clear.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You just toss Leia's 3-pip and slide in Chewie's, but I mean all of their 1-pips Veers, Boba, Bossk are really good.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I think you probably cut Bossk's bomb because you don't, it's a nice to have if he ends up close to something, but it's not generally where you want him to be, if you can help it. But
Discord disagrees with you, Kyle.
I mean, I guess you
Yeah.
could cut whipcord too, but then if you run up against like Luke Sabine, you're gonna really miss that whipcord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think Whipcord's kind of like as a crowd control tool. I think it's a little bit essential against Luke and hell, even against Royal Guards. I mean,
I think the biggest thing with Whipcord is that it's a free action.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just something you get to do for free. It's really good value.
not to
I
mention
wish-
that you can disengage from melees, right? Like you get to be
Yeah.
doing your move.
Yep.
But like if you look at it as like a free Jedi mind trick, like that's not terrible.
Yeah, and it also freezes them in place for their
Yeah.
activation.
Unless you hit another Mandalorian.
Right, in which case she doesn't get to. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that
It was
fun.
kind of amusing to watch
Yeah.
that.
Yep. I'm like, hey, I can still do a speed 1 move.
Right? It's kind of nice. You're like, oh.
You're like,
I
oh,
have
you mean I'm
Whipcord
not
and I can still
stuck?
go places.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got to play 2 games today, huh?
Yeah. I don't want to like hit him in too much detail.
That's
because we talked
okay.
about
I
him
just
plenty,
think that it's
but-
really cool that you got to play 2 games of Star Wars Legion on your birthday.
Yeah, it it was my birthday. I started like taking the day off for my birthday just as a day to screw around and not work basically a couple of years ago, and I've kept the tradition. So I played Legion all day. It was awesome. And
That's
also
legit.
I realized that I'm old when David streamed my match with Luke and billed it as Morpheus versus Neo, and I was not Neo.
No, you were Morpheus, man. But you were on the scene before Luke really was on the scene, in my opinion. Like as a more known player, or I guess globally. I don't know how you even describe it. Like he'd been making waves in New York, right? And then he came to the Discord, and then he started playing online, and people were like, "Oh, this guy's really good." You know, but so you were around before he was. So I mean, it's not like any specific slight at the fact that you're older than he is, but you know, if you want to,
David's just back.
that was a good
It's just
backpedal,
like,
but I'm old.
you
I
know?
get it.
yeah, I'm pretty
you
good at
can
that.
keep this narrative going, right? We can just like make like Kingsley Agent Smith or something.
Oh my good lord,
Yeah, I think that's an appropriate reference actually.
that's actually quite
Right.
appropriate.
I mean,
yeah.
without the malicious evil part, but definitely
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he puts his list on the table with 6z6 and 3 snipers, and they're like, there's so many me's. You know?
right.
There's so many copies
It's
of
just
the same unit.
it's pure efficiency.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
love you, Kingsley.
yeah. I don't, you know, that's his style. You know, he's defensive, calculating. It's cool. I mean, you sympathize with this, right, Kyle? Like you're a very defensive player.
Yeah, I mean that's why our game was so boring.
It was not boring actually. At least I didn't think it was.
Yeah, I mean, well, in hindsight, I needed to be aggressive. Like my list style relative to his. We talked about this already. We don't need to rehash, but
It's okay. I will teach you how to be more aggressive. It's gonna be okay.
all right. If I play Sabine and Luke, I'm gonna have to figure that one out.
Yeah, you can't lay back.
I don't know about that. I mean, I think that the way you played your game today, like outside of the fact that Sabine was too far from Luke, I think that you were playing it pretty defensively. Like if you just used Luke and Sabine as like a hey, you can't come close to me, like your 5z6s and 3 snipers will like, handle the range battle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I played that differently. I guess than I would normally. You know, jump into holes if you see them, but don't force anything.
Yeah. The thing is, you just have more opportunities to like jump into those situations because you essentially have 2 Lukes.
Yep, that's true. I mean, one of them doesn't have force push, but that's okay.
Yeah, you can still, I really respected the play you made, and I don't want to talk about these for too much longer, but the play you made today where you double moved with Luke into a stormtrooper unit that had already activated and then declined to attack because you just didn't want him to get shot, I think was A, really conservative, and B, really good, just because like most people wouldn't have done that. They just would have swung the lightsaber, I think.
Yeah, I do that. I find myself doing that a lot actually. And Screwtape actually afterwards brought up a good point, which is there's another way to do this, just tactically speaking, with Luke or any unit with Pierce, really. Pierce is optional. So, like, if you want to swing, and see how many hits you get, like that Stormtrooper unit had 3 dudes in it. Like, I could have swung and got like 4 hits, and then let him roll his saves, and then essentially declined to use Pierce if he just failed one or two of them to leave a guy alive.
Yeah, you could like pierce into the exact right number, you know.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
an
a
option.
little dangerous, but yeah.
Yeah, because you could roll like 4 hits and then he rolls 3 blanks, and then you're in the same position you would be otherwise. But
Yeah.
if you're up against like stormtroopers or something where you're expecting at least one save, like it's not that bad. Especially like if you're going up against like a 4 or 5 man unit, I think it's much safer to try something like that.
You heard it here first, folks. Don't use Pierce.
But
Yeah,
it's so Jedi though, right? Like Luke's all about pacifism and
There you
about like not using anger and aggression, right? That's
Mhm.
that's the light side of the Force.
I don't know, but Darth Vader has Pierce 3, and I'll be damned, but I'm going to use it.
Of course.
You guys got any Bossk Sabine thoughts?
He needs all the help he can get.
Right.
Oh.
Okay.
Rex.
So, as far no, I actually have not had an opportunity to play with Bossk yet. I'm really looking forward to it, but I think it's going to be a while since I'm running a Vader League, probably with Sabine, who I also have not played with yet. I have to get my first game scheduled this week. That's on my priority to do list. But it's been really busy because we've pretty much recorded every single night this week. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of on the, don't have time for that train at the moment. So, how about you, Dave?
I had a chance to play Sabine. I played her with Han and Leia because I could do pretty much a similar list to what Kyle was running, except I didn't get 3 strike teams. I think I only had 2 because I slotted in a character. I slotted in Leia instead. Yeah, I think it's actually pretty dope. It's tough though because they have such heavy competition for the 1 pip in the command hand, and I think like it's weird because I think in that list you actually do leave Sorry About the Mess at home, which doesn't seem right. But Han by himself, I think, is good enough just for reckless diversion and change of plans. And I think with Leia behind Sabine, you get that free one speed move that makes her all the more potent, just gives her a little bit more economy. I think that's really her issue. And others in the community have brought this up about Sabine. She doesn't have access to force push, and so she needs some way to disengage. And Luke will do that disengage for her with force push, and so I think that's why Luke Sabine is good. But I ran her with Han Leia just because I wanted a commander that had more ranged Pierce, because I think range is like a bigger and bigger factor in the game.
Yeah.
As far as how Sabine did, she tanked Royal Guards and Death Troopers for 3 rounds before dying, which was kind of nice. The Darksaber was kind of underwhelming when I used it. Pierce 1, I don't think is quite enough to make a big impact. Like, you're still looking for them to fail their save. The Pierce 1 just helps a little bit. Worst case, it helps you make sure that your Darksaber strike didn't do nothing. But I'm kind of whelmed. It's not a Luke saber, and I keep telling myself that this is like all elusive because Luke Saber could do the exact same thing in Pierce 2. It's just one more body off the board in the wash. But I start to worry when I look at a 25-point upgrade that I'm taking that only does like 1 hit on a Death Trooper, and then they all punch me back, or the Royal Guards come at me, and in situations where I could disengage with something, or like with a box, because I had force push instead. But no, I can't disengage. So instead, I sit there and get tied up by 1 Death Trooper for the Royal Guards to come in and kill me, or something like that. That said, I don't know if I would take her without it, just because that immune pierce melee makes her such a good match for Luke. Like, she's actually more defensive than Luke in that regard. She's got a better save. She has nimble. She's immune pierce like Luke is. And she has a better weapon once she has tenacity turned on.
Yeah, I actually, one takeaway from Kyle's game that I saw today is I actually think that the biggest reason you might take the Darksaber is Dauntless.
Yeah, definitely. I 100% agree with that.
Courage 2, like the difference between Courage 2 and Courage 3 on her and Boba is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've seen that now repeatedly when she faces off against Boba Fett and then Boba Fett whipcords her. Dauntless like saves her bacon,
Yeah.
essentially. Until she panics, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll get to that later.
She's, range 3 at Luke. She shouldn't be doing that most of the time.
I still think she needs an Inspire source behind her, much like Han does.
Yeah, which I've been saying it. Gotta take Leia. Luke, Leia, Sabine, Rebel Meta 2019. You heard it here.
It even rhymes.
I still don't see how you fit that, but I'm gonna try it just for you.
Yeah, I mean, you got to go down to like 4Z6 and naked, don't you? And 2 snipers to make that work.
It's still 10 activations.
It's still 10. It's just a little bit. It's not quite as beefy.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, we feel the discomfort, us rebels, when we have to go below 5Z6s sometimes.
Yeah, and you got to cut a bunch of upgrades too. I mean, it's 30 points between a Z6 and Leia.
It's like you guys have to play with expensive characters now.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I kind of agree with you, but like it's weird because I look at Sabine, okay, and if I take her in isolation, it's like, okay, Luke does the melee thing better than she does. Han does the gunslinger thing better than she does. Neither of them have saves to rival hers. Neither of them have nimble. Neither of them have the speed she does. Neither of them also have explosions.
Yeah,
and so those are like the biggest reasons to take her.
Those bombs are good shit, man.
Yeah,
they really are.
I sort of think, and this I think has yet to come out in the wash, but I think she actually does the gun thing better than Han. I think the difference between
in some ways, yeah,
like speed 3 in rather than speed 2 in, gunslinger like as a last action, gunslinger speed 3 out, especially with jump 2, is a lot more versatile than like once you get Han in the thick of things, it's tough to get him out of there.
I think what you mean is speed 3 in, gunslinger, throw bombs, gunslinger, speed 1 out.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
No, you didn't do that today, and I was sad.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, actually, you sling first so that you don't have the suppression in front of your guns, and then blast them away.
Yep.
But I mean, some combination of that, like doing the last first gunslinger bomb thing, is so potent.
So we've talked about Sabine and Bossk for a while. We've got some State of the Legion stuff to go over here. We wanted to talk about, we talked about a lot of exciting stuff last week. Jeez, it's yesterday to me. So we wanted to talk about some things that we feel like, we could kind of improve on moving forward. So I think earlier in the week, Luke Cook actually published a video online about sniper strike teams. Did you guys get to watch that?
Not that one specifically, although his videos are pretty good. So folks should check them out.
I've watched his stuff in the past. I unfortunately I saw it go by on my Facebook feed, and I meant to click on it, but it just didn't quite. Drat.
Guys, well, Luke, I watched it, and I was listening. But essentially,
someone out there was listening,
right? So he was going into like, it's really hard to build a competitive list without sniper strike teams, and I think we've talked about that to some degree on previous casts. What do you guys think we can do going forward to kind of fix that, or what can be done?
Well, what is the problem? I guess. I mean, let's start there. Like, why are they a problem?
I think,
there's a bunch of factors, right? Like number one is that they're 44 points, right? That's the biggest thing.
Super cheap.
But they're also 44 points that can be effective anywhere on the board because they have infinite range. They're also 44 points that don't lose their heavy weapon after taking a single wound because of the weapon team rules, right?
Yeah.
They're also cheap enough that you can take upgrades that enhance their economy and have it not cost you too badly. Although the community is kind of divided on whether hunter snipers are any good. I think they're amazing. Like, they're really, really good, but they have to have a very specific strategy attached to them. But hunter aside, it's the fact that you have this amazing combination of low points, high survivability because it's dead easy to get them into heavy cover or hide a model. And the combination of offensive keywords they provide with infinite range.
They're also, as an added bonus, like relatively timing neutral. Like you don't. Generally, it's better to pull them early than late, but since they're often in like a relatively safe position unless you're engaged in a fierce sniper war, you don't like usually super care when you pull their token. So you can kind of use them as part of a, like if you look at the top high command list, right? It's 5 to 6 core, 2 to 3 snipers, and then characters. And the reason for that is because like you can give your orders to your characters, and then your entire bag is core and snipers, and you don't really care like when you pull a token, what that token is, right? So, yeah, there's just so many different things that they excel at as part of a good competitive list. I do think we should qualify this a little bit to specifically say strike teams are mandatory because I think, as we've talked about already, Lupo proved that you can do something similar if you're really good at stats.
Yeah. I mean, and I think to that conversation, right? Maybe it's just the low cost, quality, useful activations that are posing this little bit of a problem, right? Because they're starting to kind of inflate the activation counts for a lot of these lists, right? Like if you didn't have the option to take sniper or sab strike teams, we'd probably be looking at a lot more 8, 9, maybe 10 activations as opposed to 9, 10, and 11, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you go look at armies before snipers came out, or before commandos and scouts came out. Like, what was that? Like August, late August of last year. And yeah, they were 8 or 9 activations basically.
Yeah, they were available at Gen Con, so yeah, it was late August. You're right.
Yeah. And I don't think they weren't legal for Nova, which was late August.
No.
So
I remember because I was running my sweet Darth Vader, like 5 stormtroopers, maybe 6 stormtroopers, 2 bike squad list.
yeah, because you had literally nothing else to spend those points on.
This was back when John Brader was winning maximum firepowers with double rocket speeder bike lists.
Yeah.
Well, and that's because people were bringing in ATSTs and ATRTs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Like,
a total
it was,
meta call, and it was brilliant. Also,
yeah, I mean, it was appropriate for the time for sure.
Yeah, it was like the precursor to discipline on Death Troopers.
Yep.
So, what do you think that there's any way to fix this? Do you think that it's just like we need to wait for something? Like I don't think the answer is wait for something to come and replace them, because anything that is going to replace the sniper strike teams right now feels like it would be too good, I think.
Yeah, well, and another question too that somebody brought up in the Discord is like, what stupid other metas are cheap snipers protecting us from?
Right, that's the thing, like
like four Death Troopers.
Yeah, like if you don't have
quad Death Trooper,
if you don't have an infinite range Pierce attack, like Death Troopers get a lot better, like a lot better.
Oh, really and truly, yeah. Like even just DTs with the configs and the heavy weapon are madness. Like the amount of damage they put out.
So yeah, I think you got to be careful before we say that like they're quote unquote a problem. I don't know that we have enough unit diversity on the table at the moment to be able to say whether or not the fact that there's two or three of them in every competitive list is because like they need to be is because they're too good and they need to be balanced in the other direction, or because activations are important and because they're cheap.
Yeah.
Like I don't know that we have enough evidence at the moment for that call. It's also possible, we don't know what clones and CIS are going to look like structurally past the core set, but it's possible that they have other advantages that offset the lack of access to something like that.
It's also possible that like B1 battle droids make sniper teams really bad.
Right. But I guess my point is like, once we have more factions, it could be that strike teams are sort of a uniquely like faction defining benefit of playing Empire or Rebels.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, I mean? Right? Like it might be that like clones and and be like CIS just like don't get access to that. It would. I could see clones having snipers. The Confederacy seems a little weird just because their battle strategy is like, you know, Revolutionary War. Like let's line up in a line and shoot each other. But
Yeah, they still have like infiltrators, like in the Clone Wars
that's
TV
true.
show, and
I guess we'll have to see.
they'll probably borrow from that.
We'll have to see. So one of the other things that was on our list to talk about were the infamous exhaust weapons in Ion.
Oh boy, we're still talking
right?
about this a year down the line.
I mean,
Well, this is a year in review.
it
right?
is. It is a year in review.
Yeah, that's true, and it hasn't changed.
I think that it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that exhaust weapons in Ion generally
A rocket scientist,
generally
as in an HH-12
look,
scientist.
man, don't expose my puns. But I think they've already really taken some good steps to kind of swing this back around. And I think we've seen that in the Pathfinders and the new land speeder that came out. You know, that I think they essentially have the same gun actually, but it's Bistan's gun that's like black, 4 white, impact 1, ion 1, exhaust. It's like I don't remember how many points it is. I think it's like 32, right? Ish.
It's 32.
Yeah, it's 32 base. Yeah,
It's a decent rate for that effect, I think. And it like actually has a chance of putting the ion token on because you're like rolling a ton of dice.
Yeah, I think the fact that Bistan, like, people are considering him and using him effectively in a meta that currently doesn't have a lot of vehicles, at least until we start seeing the tank more, means like that he's in a decent spot. Like I almost view the ion and the impact as a bonus.
Yeah.
You know, you're not taking him specifically to counter a vehicle meta, but if you have him in your list, you're glad you brought him. But he's going to be plenty useful, you know, if your opponent doesn't have any vehicles either.
yeah, you're taking him to create a stupidly large dice pool at range 3.
I think that speaks to kind of maybe the largest problem with ion and to a lesser extent exhaust right now is that like their purpose is just like really narrow. That might be due to the fact that we just like don't see a ton of vehicles, but
well, right, like if you take a MPL ion or an HH-12 and your opponent doesn't bring vehicles, you're significantly behind on efficiency before you even roll any dice.
Yep.
And I think there's a chance too, like if your opponent does bring vehicles, you know, and this is why people don't bring them, is because there's enough tools already, especially for Empire, to deal with those vehicles without having to take those like specific anti-vehicle exhaust weapons.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that the tank kind of changes that conversation. I own one, but it's not put together yet, and it certainly has the opportunity to be like, okay, every Empire list is going to need a guy with a rocket launcher from now on. I don't know if that's the case, but I think a tank backed up by like an astromech or two could certainly make that a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
that's another thing that makes me reticent about ions is because they added this cheap tool to remove an already I don't want to say negatively efficient, but highly inefficient token.
I mean, so for whatever it's worth, I think that if you can get an ion token down, it's really good. And more specifically, if you can get 2 ion tokens down, it's amazing.
Right. The dream is to take Han Bistan and like last first with an uplink. Sorry about the mess.
Yeah.
And you know, fully ionize a tank for one round.
That seems really good to just be like, okay, here's a quarter of your points. You don't get to use it. Like,
yeah. And but that's the thing, right? Like it's one of those mechanics where it's like, if this was easy, it would be everywhere, or no one would take vehicles.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, but no one's taking vehicles, right? That's not the reason.
Right. They weren't taking vehicles anyway. But that's not because Ion's easy to use. It's because vehicles are not efficient.
Except, I think, possibly the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, we came back full circle.
We did.
The circle is now complete.
Awkward silence. Right.
Awkward silence. Okay, so we're still talking about exhaust weapons. Okay, so we have Bistanrat, we got the MPLB, we've got the HH-12. It's an exhaust weapon, but then we have the newest exhaust weapons, right? The Landspeeder ion gun and the Death Trooper configurations and the Pathfinder configurations. Well, the Pathfinder config is an exhaust, but the Death Troopers one is.
So I've been messing around with the Death Trooper one. I think it's fine. I think it's one of those exhaust weapons that you might only use once. I don't know, like
unless you're running discipline.
Unless you're running discipline, yeah. Because I think it's like 8 points ish. Again, I'm spitballing here because I don't remember these things off the top of my head.
It's not like Death Troopers synergize with Veers.
I sense sarcasm in your voice.
Yeah. Precise 2 baked in, an exhaust weapon that comes with it in a pack. Gee whiz.
We take another trip to Kessel.
I think we are.
But yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Kessel is spice mines. I think you mean crate.
Spice, salt.
Sorry, I had to correct the record there.
Well, no, the Death Troopers and Veers are spicy. I am salty.
Okay.
I think we got it now.
Okay.
Yeah, so the experience that I've had, and I've only ran 2 games with Death Troopers, but the experience I've had so far is that you actually they're much better at range 2 than they are at range 4, because
my dead Rebel Troopers disagree with you, sir.
I'm not saying they're bad at range 4. I'm just saying when they've got 2 aim tokens at range 2 and they're rerolling 8 dice in their 11 die pool with blast. It's just like
with blast,
you don't need red dice when you're re-rolling everything. Like I think I rolled out a couple 9-hit rolls against Z6 squads or range 2, and I was just like, well, I guess you die because you also don't have cover, so have fun with that.
Right, that's just it. But I mean, even if you don't, cover is only 2 hits.
Yeah.
And so when you have yeah, but you know what I mean, though.
Yeah,
I say only when you have a massively re-rolling dice pool of 7.
Yeah.
And you have a 5-man squad. Where does that leave you? If you make no saves, you're dead.
It leaves you salty.
Well, it's a good thing Rebel dice are white then, I guess. I don't know.
There have been a lot of paint on my white dice recently.
I noticed that today.
Well, lucky you.
Just saying. There's two of those 6 sides have paint on them, I think.
You know what they say, better to be lucky than good, I suppose. I don't know.
I do think, for as good as we're talking up DTs, like we said earlier, I do think Bossk just straight up replaces them. That's my personal opinion.
I think that if you're using them for the range 4 fire support role, yes, I think you're right. I think if
DT double IRG, or sorry, double DT IRG. Sorry,
yes.
It is, but it's
good. I think
good.
that if you're running DTs over Bossk, the reason you're doing that is because they can get up there like fleet troopers and just delete things that wouldn't normally die, instead of tossing down the suppressive stuff.
Now, if you're doing that, are you running them with at least 1 medic?
Yeah. I'll caveat that with, I don't think you're ever running DTs without at least 1 medic.
Yeah.
Not while snipers are a thing, and we just talked about that.
Yeah, that's like 20 points down the drain every time you get shot by a sniper.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 25. But
yeah, if you count for upgrades.
I think
yeah, but I mean, thank goodness those things lose combat effectiveness when they get wounded. I'll just say that much. Because Bossk doesn't.
Yeah, totally.
Yep.
Bossk actually gets better when he gets wounded,
Yeah,
and he regenerates.
he does
Like you don't even
regenerate.
need a medic. If you get a lucky white roll, you get 3 health back. That's like so much
Yeah.
value, right?
Yeah, double paint on those white dice.
It's really good.
I forget
It's
what
really
game it
really
was, but I
good.
was watching an Invader League game, and the guy was running Bossk, and he had like 3 wounds on him. He rolled his regenerate roll, and he said he healed all of them. It's just like,
Oh
it's
my
like, oh,
goodness.
that's a thing. Um,
Yeah, that is a thing. It happens. Sometimes you just roll sixes and it
so
happens.
I think the third thing on our list that we were looking at for some improvement was more official engagement from FFG at organized play events.
Where are my sparkle dice? Damn it.
You just want some of that X-Wing swag.
I would love to have custom dice for the special dice for
Yeah,
Legion. That'd be really fun. I've already got the order tokens from High Command, so I
I'm
hope
sure
there's
there
more to
is.
come.
I find it difficult to believe the Fantasy Flight Games is not going to be like, hey, we did special dice for literally all of our other games. We're not going to do it for this one. I I think that's crazy that they wouldn't. They're definitely gonna.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
ready
I
for
mean,
my marbles.
it's just
Yeah.
been 1 year, right? Like, I think there was, so one of my biggest takeaways from our interview with Alex and Luke was just how optimistic they are and how optimistic FFG is and how invested the company is in making Legion successful. And I think when Legion was first pushed out, there was a little bit of uncertainty about like how well it was going to do, and FFG didn't like go full force into supporting it. I think we're starting to see that now. But I definitely agree that the community a little bit carried Legion on its back this first year. Like we were talking just while we were putting these show notes together about like where would Legion be without LJ Pena?
And LJ. Yeah, right.
Or Brendan
Like,
France.
Right. Or Brendan
thank you
France. Yep.
guys. Like the stuff that you have
Yes.
done for
Thank
our
you.
community this year is just there is not words in this world to really describe what you have done for this game. So, and you've done it for free. No one has asked you to do it. Thank you.
Yeah. Like I mean, if not for LJ and Brendan, would we have had enough terrain at Adepticon? Would we have had all of the surprise support we got? Would we have had the streaming support? Like, I don't know. I think that's an open question. Like all of that came together after they brought LJ and Brendan on. So, yeah, big thanks to you guys, and hopefully, we're still like I said. I think FFG is now all in on this game now that they've seen how successful it's become.
Yeah, I sort of feel like there was
Hope,
like they were the big elephant in the room. Like, can we actually, rival Warhammer, right? Like, because that's the thing you have to do to be successful, I think. And I think the answer at this point is yes.
Yep, I think after Adepticon, that's pretty clear.
But I don't think they were sold on that, until now, and
Yeah, and I think we see some encouraging things with like this seasonal play kit that they've announced, where you basically get swag just for showing up to your local store and playing games. I love that as a concept. I think that's great that they're doing that, and I hope we see more stuff like that, as well as just more like official tournament support. We've already, like LJ has previously talked about the Legion tournament circuit, sort of just putting together like a standard set of information really for tournaments for Legion, and hopefully FFG embraces that concept also. The good news is that as we've already seen for this first year, there are a lot of people willing to step up and help, and hopefully we just see more engagement in general from OP.
Yeah, I think that there is a large community that is like looking to get involved in organized play. Like, I don't know how long the wait list was for LCQ, but at one point it looked like there was at least 20 people on there, and like there was already 64 people in the tournament, and those are just the people that like decided, hey, like the tournament's full, I'm gonna sign up anyways. I'm sure there was a ton of people that were like, oh, the tournament's full, I'm not gonna sign up, you know. um, I don't know.
Well, yeah, and the fact that we see so many rally point qualifiers on that list is a huge positive sign too, because it means that there's like 70 plus stores that think that they have a big enough local Legion community to go through, the investment to hold a rally point. I mean, that's a
Speaking
great
of rally
sign.
point qualifiers, I have a huge ask for our listeners. Not a huge ask, but an ask. If you are at a rally point qualifier and you are able to like get the winning list and email it to us, that would be really cool.
Yep, we want to talk about that kind of stuff.
It's
So
if you've got somebody that like won a rally point and you want to like showcase them or something that happened really cool, email it to us. I think it's notoriousscoundrels@gmail.com, right? Sweet.
yep.
I got it right.
Email us other stuff
Yeah.
too, feedback, criticisms, questions, whatever.
Questions that we could answer on the show, even.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a question you'd like us to address, like, please feel free. We'd love to hear listener feedback. We need that sort of thing to continue to grow and improve what we're doing on our end. So don't hesitate. Please email us.
Yep.
Sweet. So
Yep.
we've talked about some stuff for improvement. Dave, why don't we start with you? I'm gonna put you on the spot here.
Sure.
So if you could sum up this year in a few sentences for you, what does that look like?
I was nervous going in, like investing. 2.0 had, that is X-Wing 2.0, had kind of put the game on the back shelf or the back burner for a lot of folks in my local area, and I was a little bit disappointed that it seemed to be commanding all the attention, but persistence paid off. The community started growing. I said, yeah, I think this will be the game I throw myself fully into, and I'll stop trying to be really good at X-Wing and I'll just be really good at Legion. Like, here I am, I'm at the ground floor. I can, heal my largest regret at entering X-Wing kind of midstream, wave 9, when things were already starting to break down for first edition. The game has just gotten better and better. The community's gotten wider, and that circle, as it widens, we're just going to get more and more people in to contribute and play, and so, I mean, as far as the last year's gone, it's been amazing. I've met a ton of people I would never have met without Legion, and I have done things I never thought I would do, and I've met amazing people, and I'm looking forward to doing that for another year, at least. Many more if the Force wills it.
I'm sure the Force will be with you.
Always.
How about you, Kyle? So I'm
your turn.
I mean, I can go if you want. If you want to go last,
Okay.
Kyle, since it's
Kyle's
your
turn.
or do you want to go now?
It doesn't matter. Why don't you go ahead?
So I when I saw the Legion was going to be a thing, I was like, okay, this is it. Everything else is going on the back burner, right? I doubled down on everything. I literally bought before playing the game, I think I bought like $500 in pre-order stuff. No regrets at all. I've got so much stuff, but I also have met an insane amount of awesome people in the last, and frankly, that's really the highlight of it. Like, this game is fantastic, and the rules are great, and the models are great, but the community that has been built in the last year is just freaking amazing. I don't know, like I look back at like a year and a half ago, and I have a hard time like remembering like what it was like to not know all you guys. Like what the hell? Like I don't know. Like I feel like I've known you guys for a lot longer than, 8 months to a year, and it's awesome. It's frankly incredible. So I yeah, that's what I have to say about this year. It's just it's
Feelings mutual,
taken
man.
us to to so many places. I went to Las Vegas, which is a place that I never thought I'd be. um, and
Yep, I'm right there with you.
like, and
Same.
we that was the first time that a lot of us all got to like meet in person, and it was incredible. Um, uh, it was just really awesome. So, thank you to everybody else in the community, and I hope that everybody listening, if you're not involved in the community, get involved, because it's amazing. But I think it's birthday boys time.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm going to echo a lot of what you guys said. Like, so originally when Legion came out, I was skeptical. I'm like, only 2 factions?
Right.
How's that going to be fun? I was a 40K player at the time, and I'm like, all right, well, I'll try it. My friend, I want to give a shout out to my friend Mike, not you, Mike.
You've
Different
got
Mike,
way too
Mike
many
G.
friends that are named Mike. I just want to throw that out there.
This is true. Yeah. Legion just attracts a lot of mics, I guess. So yeah, he convinced me to try the game with him. We gave it a shot. I'm like, all right, this is pretty good. I'll split a core set with you. I kept playing it, and I haven't picked up any. Well, I take that back. One time I cheated on Legion and I played 40K in the last year. But like I've been all in on Legion since then. Because the game is great, but also, like you guys have said, I've really enjoyed meeting everybody. I'm super grateful for the chances that I've had to hang out with you guys and hang out with the other members in the community and get to know all these cool, new, awesome people, and share our passion for this game. So it's been awesome. And I'm super stoked to see what year 2 for the game looks like, and I'm so excited that FFG is aggressively supporting it. I think our interview with Alex and Luke is evidence of that. The fact that we already talked about this a little bit, but the fact that they're moving to hard plastic is evidence that they're putting their money where their mouth is. Like, you can tell that a corporation is invested in a game when they're literally investing in capital improvements to produce the game. So I think it's a great sign. I'm really excited to see what happens with Legion in year 2. And of course I get to hang out with you guys and all the other community members for the entire duration also again. So
Bonus, you're stuck with us.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, it's as the game grows too, more people are constantly stepping in and joining the community. So I'm sure a year from now we'll be having this conversation about all the other new people that we've met in between here and there that are also awesome. So,
Man, how the game has evolved, and presuming clones comes out with any speed,
yeah. Well, I mean,
how that's affected the game, going from 2 to 4 factions. That's like the biggest thing to look forward to right the next year.
Yeah.
I mean, based on what Alex and Luke said, it might be way more than just clones and
Yeah, we have no idea where we could be.
The man said Gungans.
I know. That tells you how deep they're going.
And sub factions.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we please have neutral sub factions that can work for any side? That would be so amazing. Like mercenaries.
Man. Or you could do cross
so
faction
fun.
units like Agent Callus.
Yeah.
Sorry, spoiler alert.
Yeah, oops.
If you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, get to it. Chop chop. It's only on
if
Netflix.
you haven't seen Star Wars Rebels, you probably have no idea who Sabine is. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't until I watched Rebels.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the only place she's in.
Yeah,
right?
right. Yeah, that's where she's at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's where she's from.
Yeah, buddy. Well, I think this has been awesome. We've had 2 full episodes of the State of the Legion. I hope that everyone has enjoyed kind of this format. We'll see if we do it again next year. It'll be probably based on how the community feels about it. But if you really like this, please let us know, and we will pick up our regular scheduled programming. I don't even know what day it is now. Whenever the next cast is, which should be a week from whatever you're listening to this. So, yeah. You guys got anything else?
nope.
Can you guys hear those sirens?
Yeah. Totally.
There's that siren, Jay.
Whew. I'm not in Minneapolis.
No, thanks to you guys for doing this. It's been super fun that we all get to just hang out.
Dude, likewise.
Right.
Thanks to our producer Jay.
Yeah.
For taking a chance on us.
For sure. Still taking a chance on us. I feel like he takes a chance on us every time we're like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go live, and Jay just sighs like, oh, you know.
And all you other Legion players and community members out there, you guys are doing awesome things. So,
where's that Jyn Erso quote about how we'll keep fighting until all the chances are spent?
Yeah, except we're not. That's like so doomsday. This isn't Scarif. This is like.
Yeah, this is what.
This is like the end of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
In the updated version, where they take you like back to Coruscant and everybody's like cheering and stuff.
No, just the old better version with not Hayden Christensen, Ghost Man.
I didn't really mind that. I'm gonna be honest.
Jay says, I can threaten to cancel every cast if that helps.
He's trying to get the doomsday atmosphere going.
Oh yeah, a little more Rogue One, Annihilation Looms style.
Yeah, I was gonna say the end of Return of the Jedi when Vader is burning in a pyre. I mean, speaking of his effectiveness,
okay. All right.
I've said too much.
Right, hang on. I think we can say that about the T-47. I don't think the Dark Lord of the Sith.
Yeah, I know, right? The T-47 was. Hey, there's plenty of shots of the T-47 just like getting, plunked by an ATST, just kind of back it up and be like, oh yeah, and you're dead too.
Yep. All right.
Big old mechanical dog playing with his chew toys.
Shall we take it out of here?
Take it home, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for listening. This has been the State of the Legion. I'm Mike Berry.
I'm Kyle Dornbos.
David Zelenka.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Join us next week for another episode of the Notorious Scoundrels.
This has been a Fifth Trooper production.